Alright, what's going on, guys? Back with Chili Games. I appreciate you guys clicking on the video. I am going to be going over a Z23 game that I had a couple days ago. I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's not the greatest, but being a cruiser player, it's always nice to see good destroyer play, and I'm not going to say that I'm the best destroyer player, but trying to figure out the Z still, so I had this game, and my individual score in terms of damage isn't the craziest, but as you'll see, especially this Chapayev here, I'm not worried about him leaving. I just want him to know, I'm kind of trying to tell him that I'm going to spot for you, and I know what he's doing. He's going to be backing up really soon here, because that's how I play the Chapayev. You kind of just canter your way out, so if you have to run, you can run. So, starting off the game, what I'm doing here is I'm just shooting off random torps. I'm expecting a DD to come through there, and with Torpedo Safari that I have on Spey, that means that what is it, like 65 seconds is my torpedo reload, which is actually pretty nuts, especially when this is a pretty good gunboat as well. Again, this is not my final build for the ship. That's my bay is only at like level 7, so I didn't really want to use him. Anyways, we are in the cap. We're kind of sideways, which isn't really the best. You'll see here, I'll back up in a second. And right now my job is to create a barrier between these enemies and my friendly Chapayev, because Chapayev has some of the best DPM in the game, so I'm going to allow him to utilize it. And at first I was like, okay, this should be pretty easy, and that Mayoko got over there really quick. But I didn't think he was going to push, since this team sees that they obviously don't have a destroyer over here, because he would have pushed the cap already or would have contested it. So all of these guys are pretty much stalemated by me. They can't push. And the my support, which is actually only one, it's only one cruiser, and that's the Chapayev, and I think there's a Jean Bart behind us, but he's so far back there's really no consistent damage coming in from him. I see the Edinburgh come around, and I'm actually worried about radar, but then he pops his smoke, and I'm like, okay, bet. We already get A, which is huge, and I know Edinburgh from playing it that that ship can actually wreck my entire soul. And I have torps. I'm kind of watching Edinburgh, and I'm watching the torps in the background because I know there's a Colorado. I'm hoping to get kind of lucky here and smack him with some torps. That doesn't really happen. Edinburgh goes through his smoke. At this point, I could fire, yes, but then I have a Colorado, an Edinburgh, and a Mayoko that are just ready to pound me here. And, you know, the game just started, so I'm not willing to lose that health and try to gamble on getting this guy killed, because then if I lose too much health, then I have to smoke up and he loses his targets. I check back at Chapayev to make sure he's okay. He's doing great. He has 3 heals. He has that amount of health. Like, he's completely fine. I'm expecting this guy to go down because he radared those guys. Really good play on his part. I get kind of anxious and shoot Colorado. We only get detected for a time being. And at this point, I'm getting... This is why I kind of stopped playing destroyers, just because... Could I have YOLO'd that guy and probably torped him? Probably. But I'm playing for the win here. And again, I've abused Chapayev enough myself, so it is nice to get those huge damage numbers. So I'm kind of trying to give this guy somewhat of some decent targets to play around with. And he's doing a really good job, actually, of, you know, not getting himself killed and allowing himself to be alive for these kind of moments. I wasn't really worried about Colorado pushing me, because if anything I could have smoked. As you'll see, these two are kind of colliding together here, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'm gonna get both of these guys in this kill. I'm gonna go on to B and get that cap. And if you take a moment to look at the enemy team, their battleship row. You got Pearl Harbor up there in the top right corner. I actually took a screenshot of this and I was gonna post it in Discord because I was just like, this is a problem. End up smacking the Mayoko twice. A third of the game is gone, and we only have, 11,000 damage. We have a solo cap, and it's people equate doing good to just raw damage alone, which raw damage alone, like depending on your class, can be a lot. Like if you're a cruiser with a high DPM, if you're not putting out that DPM, then you're not really playing your ship in the best way. I understand certain games play out differently, but as a DD, like, you have so much power just being alive and being passive. And I realized that, their destroyer was at sea, so I'm not going to abandon this entire flank just to go chase down that DD. So we blow through that flank. We have a friendly Bismarck at B here. He's getting reset, so that allowed us to get in this cap ourselves. And Bismarck is going to make a really fatal error here. And that being, I can tell that most of these players are not the best, especially those guys in the back, because they're in the back. And they even still have a DD, so they could have pushed C and been on that side and made it more of a horizontal fight. But they're so far pushed back. That does not mean that they can't sling some damage downrange. So Bismarck here is pushing forward. He's actually left his cap. I think he probably thinks he can take everybody, even though they're not playing the best. They're in a group. They can smack you down really quickly. And enemy has a Kutuzov as well. So that Bismarck. At this point, I was just happy that I could get the capture myself. Bismarck is going to go down extremely soon. I mean, even if it was just Kutuzov there, Bismarck can't do crap against Chapayev or Kutuzov, so he was dead anyways. So, yeah. Still full health, 15,000 damage, 2 caps. Not much going on. I see those torps, and that kind of gives me an idea of where the destroyer is. And that's why I'm pointing my guns this way. I'm not shooting. I'm not, giving my detection away for nothing. I have an Attigo behind me. Lightning is spotted. Kutuzov goes down. Kutuzov was in the front of the pack there, and so he got soloed out and killed quickly. Not a big surprise there. And I finally decided to take shots, only because I'm so far away from the enemy team, and Lightning isn't really focused on me. And sitting here in the cap again. I look back at Attigo and I check his speed because I wanted to give him this smoke because I haven't used him. It just felt so good to give back in this game, especially when I've abused, high DPM cruisers a lot. Destroyers are your best friend, and when they don't play, when they just suicide for a battleship kill to get a devastating strike, it's just so painful. And I'll admit this game was kind of boring, but you'll see in a couple minutes how we did. And I'm not gonna spoil it. But here we go, Lightning. I don't repair this engine just because I know he hasn't launched torps here. That is because he's been firing his guns consistently. He's had no time to fire torps. I kind of want to lull him into a false sense of, like, I kind of want him to spam his torp so I can heal it like I just did there. And then he's 100% dead. He gets 2 torps off. Kind of pointless. Well, we live though. I'm honestly not the best in this thing. I have yet to really figure out the best build for it. I've been going torpedoes. And I would switch to Bay for twist and track. But again, he's only level 7 and that's just kind of boring. But Attigo says thank you. He thinks that guy, Chapayev, is still alive. He's actually just raining down hell here. And we're just kind of waiting for this engine to... This game is over, 100% over. It was pretty much over when we collapsed that first spawn and then moved into B. I was like, all we have to do here is kill the lightning. But the whole time, I was more or less the front line of defense, except for Bismarck, who was way over extended. I focused on getting the caps, I focused on playing passively and giving my cruisers the ability to get the damage. We could have done a lot better this game. Like I said, I could have torped. We just didn't get lucky with the torps. I could have torped Edinburgh, I could have gotten a good bit of damage on Colorado from a torp or two. And, you know, we could have finished this around 70, 80,000, which isn't the greatest, but still. Look at the scoreboard. So the two people that I think that I helped finish 1 and 2. So that was just, you know, the icing on the cake. I finished 3rd. I think people play DDs. They're really good, and I think that gives people a false sense of like, oh, I can just do anything. I have insane detection, and then once they overextend, they're dead and they get screwed. Anyways, we are running out of time here. Yeah, I appreciate every one of you guys. We hit 70 subscribers, and I love y'all. Peace.